Good day, good day, good day, good day, good day, everyone. Welcome back, grade 7 students. This is your English class with Teacher Ross. How are you today? Are you excited to learn? Very good. We will explore the world of language as we discuss our lesson for today. Let us begin. Let us have first an activity. What can you say about life and tree? Do they have similarities? But before you answer, let me share with you my own concept about life and tree. Trees give us everything without expectation. Oxygen, its fruits without judging. In the same way, life gives everyone opportunity to change, to find happiness in life, to love without judging. It is just up to us if we will use that opportunity wisely or not. How about you? How will you relate life to a tree? To help you with that question, let me discuss with you another topic. When describing something, we often resort to making comparisons to establish a clearer idea of what we are trying to describe or explain. There are many types of comparisons in the English language, including the use of figures of speech like simile and metaphor. This lesson focuses on the use of other rhetorical devices like analogy, in comparing things in order to describe or make a point. In our previous lesson, an analogy shows the relationships between words. It states the likeness between two things that are otherwise unlike. Analogies may enable one to learn new words by recognizing the relationship between words. And today, we will discuss it deeper and further. Comparing objects or ideas is a common practice, especially when writing. While there are many types of comparisons that one can make through usual figures of speech like simile and metaphor, there are also literary techniques or devices that can show and provide a more detailed comparison of things and ideas. One example of these techniques is the use of analogy. In this lesson, an analogy is a literary technique that involves comparison of how two things are alike, but with the ultimate goal of making a point about this comparison. Although often quite similar or related with simile and metaphor, an analogy is not a figure of speech. It is a rhetorical device used to make rational arguments and support ideas by showing connections and comparisons between unlike things. Let us define first simile and metaphor for further understanding. Simile is a figure of speech comparing two unlike things that is often introduced by like or as in cheeks like roses. Metaphor, on the other hand, is a figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between two things that aren't alike but do have something in common. Metaphor is an indirect comparison and it doesn't use the words like or as. Example, cheeks are roses. The main function of analogy is not just to show, but also to explain or justify. Meanwhile, figures of speech like simile or metaphor only aim to show without providing clear descriptions or explanations. As such, analogy is more complex in nature than figures of speech. Take a look at how simile, metaphor, and analogy differ from each other through these examples. Simile. Life is like a tree. We are comparing life and tree using the word like. This is a direct comparison. Metaphor. Life is a tree. We are also comparing life and tree without the use of the word like and us. This is an indirect comparison. Analogy. Life is just like a tree. It starts from a seedling that grows into a full-grown tree that has trunk and branches that make itself strong and bears wonderful fruits. We are comparing here also life and tree using the word like. But as you notice, there is an explanation or justification. We do not just compare, but analogy shows clear descriptions. Generally, there are two types of analogies commonly employed in writing. Let us have number 1. Analogies that identify identical relationships. This type of analogy takes the form A is to B as C is to D and is often used to directly illustrate similar relationships between two pairs of words, often for the purpose of logical argument. For example, English is to language as mathematics is to arithmetic. The example vividly shows the connection between English and language and mathematics and arithmetic. English is basically a subject that focuses on language, while mathematics deals primarily with arithmetic or numbers. Next, number 2. Analogies that identify shared abstraction. This form of analogy compares two things or concepts that are technically unrelated in order to establish a connection between a characteristic that they share. This type is common and useful in writing because it can make abstract ideas and concepts more concrete. For example, what soldiers do for the country, white blood cells do inside the body. In the given example, the abstract concept of how white blood cells function in the body is made clear by explaining that they protect everything inside, like how soldiers perform their sworn duty to protect their country. In writing, analogies play the function of making abstract concepts more concrete, adding feeling to an image, and describing and making a point to establish an argument. Alright, I think you are now ready for our activity. Using available resources like books or magazines, look for at least 5 examples of analogies that identify shared abstraction to describe or make a point. Write your answers on your paper. Note, if you have a way to connect to the internet, you may also look for examples in web pages. Remember, tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy, and you can use analogies to make a point without creating conflicts. So that would be all for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye!